We got to go in as a show and get a set of seats from section 537 from this stadium when it's over.
537. Will there be 537 sections?
No, I'm talking about the old stadium, the stadium that's going to be torn down.
Go and grab the seats.
Can we get? Because I said this last week. My uncle had seats from the Muni, from Old Municipal, and when he died in his estate, it was included in the auction. And I got there like afterwards because I thought I put him in the pile. Like, don't sell this. Don't go selling these things. And apparently it got mixed up and they sold those seats and I was pissed. Because I'm like, well, I'm never going to be able to get the seats again, which they were heavy as hell. And I didn't own a home at the time. So probably my father knew best and probably did it on purpose because he knew I was just going to keep these seats in his house for the next 30 years for crying out loud. But now that I have the chance to buy the new seats or get the new seats, if I can just take them from it, I'd love to just take the seats.
Will they let us bring in a hacksaw to the final game?
Very creative ways to get a ratchet in nowadays.
Can you saw them out the way the one guy did?
You should be able to saw them out. We'll have to do some recon on that.
Well, if the team's good by the time 2028's here, and at the end of the season, you're going to be too busy watching the team to actually saw the seats out.
You might be. I'm a Chiefs fan, guys. I will be walking behind people and just sawing away while they're cheering on their team.
It's going to take some doing in them seats. I don't even know. You can't put no hacksaws and no hand saws and no clear plastic bag. You ain't going to let you in there with that. It's a different NFL than it was in 95. You what?
Just pre-screen it.
I can get the clear and do that?
Yeah. Okay.
Now, if the Cleveland Browns, when people say that is so Browns, right? That's Brownsian, that's Cleveland Browns.
Building a new stadium?
Could you come up with something that is more Cleveland Browns, if that thing even exists? Could you come up with something more than the Browns in their final year at that stadium on the lakefront are in a playoff game at home where it's snowy, wintry, the wind is going nuts.
Yeah, I know what you're doing.
And we win the game based on the other team looking hapless in those conditions. And then that's the last game at that stadium. And then we go.
Sounds like this.
Now, with just 58 seconds remaining, Mike Phipps had one of his greatest moments. Slipping and sliding in the muddy turf, he unloaded 2 perfect passes over the middle, despite a prevent defense designed to stop them. Phipps had again brought his team to field goal range, and with only 13 seconds left, Don Cockcroft, standing in almost the same spot, got his second chance to redeem himself and win this vital game.
Who hit the drum in the studio? Audio courtesy NFL Films. It would be very Brownsian for them to win their final game in the stadium. Like if a kicker, Harrison Butker, slips on his ass and falls and it goes catawampus, so we end up winning the game.
Their very first home playoff game in that stadium, and it's the last game.
And then we go to the temperature-controlled office space that is the new Brown Stadium.
It's going to be nice. I think there's a lot of things that are changing there. Who is going to? I want to get back into the ticket thing here in a bit, but who's going to play in the new stadium? Who can you guarantee from this football team is going to play in the new stadium?
Yeah, I gave one name immediately.
Hey, what is it?
I said Mason Graham.
Okay, Mason Graham, I think, is one.
He was my guarantee because of the position he plays, because he's a rookie. I feel like he will hold up for a long time. That, to me, is a candidate. He's not going to ask out. He's not going to, demand a trade. Those positions, they're not really divas.
When's the last time they drafted a defensive tackle and he actually stayed longer than 5 years?
Now, that is true, but he also was at the top of the draft. So I get what you're saying. You're right.
I mean, I feel like we can name defensive tackles that you thought were going to be stalwarts there, and then they're gone.
All right. I think he's the only guy I can mention that has off the top of my head. DeJuan Jones, 5 years. 5 years away. This year's the big one. If he stays healthy this year and he plays well.
To put money on it today?
I'm not telling you to put money on anything, especially when the segment we're going to do at 9:22. I don't know if we want to do that.
It's called putting on the money.
Oh, okay. Is that what it is?
I just made it.
Okay, I will say him. I'm going to say DeJuan Jones because I love DeJuan Jones. And that's 2. That's it.
Harold Fannin?
I don't want to besmirch the young man because he hasn't even played yet, but neither is Mason Graham.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Mason Graham is a number 5 overall pick. Damn it, Owen's right. Those guys tend to have longevity. But again, what Owen is saying is like he could be playing for the Jacksonville Jaguars in 5 years. You don't know that. Hope not. But that means he would still be playing in our stadium. Like there's plenty of
anybody. I noticed there's been an obvious name that nobody has said.
Who?
Shedeur Sanders.
I mean, I didn't even think about it.
If none of us even thought Shedeur Sanders, is that pretty telling to how we feel about Shedeur Sanders?
No, I thought about it. I just didn't want to say it. That's the same reason that I don't want to say DeJuan Jones. I can't guarantee he would be one that I'd lean towards. But if we're trying to actually put something on it today and say, oh, I know this guy will be here in 5 years.
216-474-0092.
Slim pickings.
On this current roster, who's going to be playing for the Browns on opening day 2029? In that stadium, new stadium. Who is going to go from in the snow to under the dome? Who's going to do it?
Denzel in his farewell
I
season?
don't think it's.
We get that many more years out of Denzel?
He's already like
that'll
8
be
years
like
in.
9. That'll be
That's
11
a Joe
or
Hayden
12
career.
Then. Yeah, he came in 2018.
That's a long career.
He's season 12.
I didn't say Miles. 5 years from now? I know that you could say that's when his contract ends.
Oof. I think he got a shot at Miles, but again, would I bet on it especially after the trade request? And
all right, this year's a big one for him. This year's a big one. MJ or Martin Emerson? Yeah, anybody can speak at any time.
MJ, what are you saying?
MJ Emerson.
I thought you were asking me one of two players.
No.
MJ or MJ Emerson.
He goes by MJ or Martin,
so
depending
confused.
on what depth chart you're looking at.
Okay.
Martin Emerson. Yes or no? 5 years. Had a good year, had a not so good year. Remember that I'm telling you guys, that joint practice against Justin Jefferson, I was like, oh my God, this guy's going to be Darrelle Revis.
I think he got a shot.
Owen?
Once again, I think you got to put some stakes on the line here,
there's
and
no
I'm not
stakes
putting
on the
any
line.
stakes on the
Not
line
waiting
for Martin
5
Emerson.
years.
No,
Waiting 5 years to do this.
No.
What's your gut telling you right now, man?
No. My gut says no, Ken.
I think if they were coming off a Super Bowl, like if look at our schedule or look at our team, right? Let me give me another depth chart.
If Martin Emerson was like a Pro Bowler already, maybe.
I'm gonna go get the Eagles depth chart real quick.
Well, he looked like he was on his way to being a Pro Bowler.
Then he looked like he was on his way to being out of the league.
Yeah. Let me tell you.
It's weird.
Okay, if we had the Eagles depth chart, we just won a Super Bowl, right?
Yep.
And these guys all played for the Browns. This is to show you how difficult it is in the NFL. Right down the line, if you got your depth chart in front of you, get your depth chart. I'm sure he's looking up shooting ranges and everything else over there. A.J. Brown, no. Devontae Smith, 2021 draft pick, 2029, maybe, exactly. Maybe. Landon Dickerson, yeah. Cam Jurgens, probably. Lane Johnson,
nope.
No. Dallas Goedert,
nope.
No. Like, there's not Saquon Barkley ain't gonna be in the league by then. Nope. Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter. Yes.
Maybe, yeah. He'd be the most likely on the defense.
I got three guys.
Three?
I got three guys. Maybe Cooper DeJean and Reed Blankenship.
Cooper DeJean's he can be on that team for the next 50 years, according to the TikTok videos I've seen.
I'll say Quinyon Mitchell going to be playing there. Because you might have to make decisions anyway. But he is very frugal. He might live in the stadium for all we know.
I want to know where the fans are.
The other thing is, we missed it. There's a guy that should be on the Browns that we should be able to say, but we can't because of the injuries, and we don't even know if he'll ever play football again. So JOK should be the guy.
JOK would have. He would have been set in stone.
Yeah.
Had he not
been
been
the guy that you're going. In fact, 5 years from now, JOK would be the guy that you're building all of the fanfare around. He's the one doing all of the welcome to the stadium.
I want to hear from the Shedorians. You just hit it right there, though, you guys. I want to hear it from the Shedorians right now. Can you guarantee me Shedeur Sanders will be playing for the Browns in that stadium? You're shaking your head. I'm talking to the fans of Shedeur Sanders. I got to call it down the line. I got to call it as I sees it. I want to know from the fans of Shedeur. will he be playing in that stadium for the Browns? I mean, as of right now, you can't say yes. You cannot. You can hope. I hope they all do. I hope Joel Bitonio finds the fountain of youth and he's playing for that team in 2029
That'd be
in
great.
that stadium.
He'd be 16-year NFL vet.
Of course, then there's plenty of people going, Ken, they won 3 games last year. You really want all these guys playing in that stadium in 2029? Yeah, fair enough. All right, 216-474-0092. Shador fans, tell me why. Gabriel, Kenny Pickett. Where's Kenny Pickett's aunt? Tell me why. That coming up, and our season tickets as big a deal as they used to be. We had a very interesting caller earlier in this show about the tickets for the it's not even possible anymore. The new stadium, folks. We're getting a new stadium here in the area. We're getting a new stadium. Mitch put out the poll. It was actually just he's asking a comment. Comment below on this current Browns roster. Name a player that will still be on the team by the time the Brook Park Dome opens up in 2029. Getting a lot of, I got Deshaun Watson. More on him coming up in a bit. Dollar Dog Nick said Joe Flacco. Got Rex Sinahara. John Kelly Jr. is a hell of a pull. Somebody needs to get a John Kelly Jr. Jersey. Got a few Mason Grahams. Got that. That's good. Deontay Johnson.
That's a good one. I like that.
He could be back.
Got a few. He also asked Shador Sanders, yes or no. Well, now he asked, will Kevin Stefanski still be the Browns coach in 2029? So far, 65% say no to the Shador Sanders thing in 2029. Late round pick. It sounds like you're besmirching Shador Sanders because
I think for
I have
me,
a theory about that coming up during the emerging podcast scene. Yes.
Baker Mayfield.
Well, get out of here. What are you doing?
Just wants to get us talked about in Oklahoma again. That's all it is.
Half the responses were about Baker Mayfield. It was amazing. It was amazing. I go, guys, trust me, he is a topic of conversation here, but I've drank away those memories long ago. 216-474-0092. I also want to ask him. We had a caller earlier, John and Wadsworth. He's like, I don't know how younger. You guys keep making a big deal about younger guys. I don't know if younger guys are going to be able to afford these tickets. You know, talking about the ticket prices. And I got to tell you, with the new stadium, and this is something we've been kind of percolating on for a little bit, the demographic of season tickets are changing. Like there was a time, I remember the Home Improvement episode, he got Piston season tickets. Tim got Piston season tickets. It had like the thing and the whole, and it was, I think, season tickets. It was a point of bragging. It was a point where you felt as if you were a part owner of the football team in so many ways. We've had so many people call in over the last 14 years who have said, you know, I've been a season ticket holder since when. You feel that you're more entitled to answers and results than the general fan. And as you in so many ways should, you're a season ticket holder. You've put the money where the mouth is. But I think now, more than we've ever seen, and I think that the climate is changing on this. Season ticket holders are companies. Season ticket holders are groups. You know, people get it. I don't think it's like Bob Johnson, who lives in Maple Heights, is a season ticket holder of the Cleveland Browns. He's got 4 seats in 537 or whatever. I think it's less and less that anymore. I think it's more of a corporate thing, and I think more tickets are going to be sold. Hey, you want to go see him play the Green Bay Packers on September 29th? Okay, here's the price. Okay, are they good? Yeah, they're good. Okay, I'm going to go pay this price for them. Hey, the Browns are playing. Can I get them on the secondary market? We'll get them on the secondary market. I think it's more going to be that. I think it's that way with all the sports, too. I think you're finding less season ticket holders who are just general fans and more corporations. I don't know if season tickets are the type of thing that we've made them out to be our entire lives. I think guys our age got to get used to that.
Well, it's not just the season tickets. It's then the PSL that comes along with it. So it's not just the exorbitant expense of the tickets.
And people make a big deal about the PSL, and I go, I think that, I want to look at what Buffalo's is. I want to know how many are Ken Carman Towing that owns these PSLs in Buffalo, New York, or Ken Carman Auto in Cleveland, Ohio, that owns the 4 for the PSL or whatever it is. I think you're going to find more corporations that own the PSLs for their tickets, for their seats, more corporate partnerships. But I think that there will be general people who are regular Browns fans, and they might have Browns season tickets in this stadium, or they had them in the municipal stadium, and they've been kind of kicking around whether or not they're in. And I think that those will be snapped right up by corporations in the future. And I think that those people who still want to go and watch Browns football will still get their single game tickets to watch Browns football. I don't know if I just don't think that season tickets are as end all be all as they used to be. Like, there's always a time. I think every sports fan, every guy thinks about a season ticket package at some sort in their life. If you're a sports fan, you have to think about season tickets. I thought about season tickets, all 3 teams at one point. All 3 teams. And back when you couldn't afford them. So I think that every guy thinks of them, and now I don't think
somebody's got to be buying the tickets, right?
Yeah, and I think that
it can't just all be corporations.
It's not all corporations. You'll still have your families who are season ticket holders, but I think that you will have a lot of people who are business owners who may just have them in their own name, so they can pass them down or something like that. I think it's going to be just a different person. I think the guy that has 2 kids who are in middle school and this is his thing, and he takes his 2 kids with him to the games. I don't think that that's going to be as much as it is anymore. And I think it's going to be the same way when Kansas City opens their new stadium someday, and the same thing when Washington opens up their new stadium someday in Chicago. The general Washington, Chicago, Kansas City fan is going to be the same way. It's going to be more business owners.
Do you think, Kenny, then that would, if that were the case and that season tickets become basically unaffordable for most, if people are, we had a caller earlier say the tickets are going to double. Okay, I don't know where they pulled that from. Maybe just made it up. But if you add that to the cost of PSLs, could you see a scenario where all these venues are empty when the teams are not good? Like totally empty?
They're empty when the teams aren't good anyway.
They're not empty to the level that we would be talking about if they doubled, if the price was double.
Well, if you're saying to me, because I'm still under the belief, and maybe I'll be wrong, I'm still under belief that the secondary market will still be that in 2029 and beyond. So say you get to a point where the newness wears off. So you get to 2034. Stadium's been around for 5 years. If the Browns are lousy, you will still have people coming home from college during Christmas or wherever during Christmas, taking Christmas holiday, and they're going to look at StubHub or God knows what, and they're going to see, all right, tickets to 537 are, hey, we can get in for $18 this weekend. You guys want to go for $18? Yeah, we'll go see the Browns for $18. We'll see who this guy is for $18. They're playing so-and-so. So maybe you want to go see Patrick Mahomes from the Kansas City Chiefs against the Cleveland Browns. He'll still be playing in 2033 or whatever, 34, whatever it is. Yeah, we can go see Patrick Mahomes for $18. It'll still be that way. Or vice versa. If the Chiefs ever start sucking up the room again, which won't be anytime soon, but if they do, it'll still be the same way. I think it'll still be a secondary market where they'll sell them for whatever they can, get whatever they can back on them, and that'll be it. And I'm sure it'll be the same thing when people buy the PSLs and they put their season tickets up, where hey, I'm going to sell 2 season tickets for single game reasons here today. And people buy them for whatever price. Or if the Browns are really, really good at the end of the year and you're paying, if the tickets were originally $400 a seat, you're going to pay $800 a seat. You're saying
for years we had heard that there was a waiting list for season tickets. Okay, I've heard that is not the case anymore. But we've heard that for years, no matter how bad the Browns were, there was a waiting list for season tickets. You're saying that the future of this is not only will it not be a waiting list anymore, it'll be hey, if the team is good, you can still be able to buy tickets, the season of, the game of, the week of. Like, we're going away from that model completely.
I think season tickets, I don't know if we're going away from that model. There will definitely always be guys like my buddy Josh back home who will do everything he can to buy season. He may sit up in the nosebleed of nosebleeds. I don't know if they really have a nosebleed seat in the new stadium from the renderings I've seen, but he will sit in the nosebleed of nosebleeds to have a season ticket. And there will be a few guys like him. But I think it'll be more like, hey, I'm Ken. I own a car. I own a series of car washes. And I'm going to get these season tickets, and maybe I'll use them. Maybe I'll give them out. And maybe I don't want to pay for a loge or a suite, or maybe I don't want to pay for these seats or that seats, but we'll take these seats, and it's a decent enough expense, lower bowl, and that's fine. And you know what? I use them, and then sometimes I don't. And then sometimes I put them up for sale. I think you'll see more. I think we've already seen more of that in all 3 sports, and I especially think we're going to see it in the NFL because ticket prices are through the roof anyway. You have less dates. You have more people. It's the biggest thing going in the NFL. It's the thing that everybody claims that they know. Everybody claims to be a football guy. So people want to see it. They want to be a part of it, especially if the team's good. So I just think that you will have a time very soon where it just becomes more corporate season tickets. this is owned by me, which I own a company, or it's owned by my company and I put it in the company name for whatever reason. And there will be more. Again, there will be, I think, I'm surprised there's 65,000 seats. I mean, you look at the place in Tennessee, that looks like more of a gathering place than it is a stadium. I mean, you see some of the open spaces that they have. It just looks like a place for people to sit around, and there happens to be a game going on out in front of them. Back to the phones. Eddie in Paramount, you're next up on the Fan. Hello, Eddie.
Hey, Ken, how are you?
Doing well. Go ahead.
Hey, the problem, I think, with that logic is there's no secondary market if people don't initially buy the PSLs and buy the tickets. There can't be a secondary market.
No, there can't be, but I do think that there will be plenty of I worry about it. I shouldn't say plenty, but I think that there will be organizations that buy those PSLs. But you know what I got to do, Eddie? I do have to look into see who's actually going to be buying the ones in Buffalo. They're going to start that. They're going to open up that stadium in 2026. So I have to see who might be owning the PSLs. I don't know if that's public knowledge or anything, but I have to go and do some snooping around and see who actually owns the PSLs over there, because that'd be the litmus test.
Yep, absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah, and I'll tell you this, Eddie, and thank you very much for the call. It's all speculation. I speculate on it, but I think that that's where it's going. That's why, like Buffalo, I remember Daryl a couple years ago. Daryl's been all over this stuff. Daryl called us up freaking out. Remember? You remember that. How are you going to build a stadium? We can't afford it. How are you going to sell seats in that stadium? You can't afford it. Okay, well, if we can't afford it, I don't know what Buffalo's doing. No offense to the fine folks in Buffalo, but I would feel that Buffalo's probably close to the same situation we are. Kind of living all in the same neighborhood, are we not? So I assume that Pittsburgh, Buffalo, Cleveland, Cincinnati, Columbus is a different area, and I have a whole thing about that. We ain't going to do that right now. But I think that those, Detroit, Indianapolis, I think you're kind of all in the same boat. Buffalo seems to have no sweat for getting PSLs. Why? We have a huge metro. We have a bigger metro than Buffalo, New York, do we not? Okay, so I imagine we have more people who are of means than in Buffalo.
Way more competition for the sports dollar here, though.
That is also true. That is also
like, is
true.
this going to come? If people all pony up for the Browns, does it come at the expense of the Cavs and the Guardians? You know, I
think that's been part of the that's probably been part of the fight that has been thrown in there, because again, you have another major billionaire in this town that is making a big investment in the area. He's got a 200 some odd thousand square foot facility that's going up along the river. He's got a new WNBA team that's coming here, and now you're going to have competition out there. He can't be thrilled about that.
The other thing is the Bills could not have been a better time for them to ask their citizens for money because of Josh Allen.
True.
Right?
True.
Like, we don't have our Josh Allen yet.
If we get our Josh Allen, do you think there's going to be a problem?
No. I think they could name their price because I don't know, that point.
Like, does PSLs, do you only offer PSLs for the first year? Or is it still like, hey, if you want to get in here in 2033, you still need to buy a PSL? All right, well, if we find our Josh Allen, there's definitely going to be corporations who are willing to do it because they're going to want to entertain people. And there's going to be business owners who are hardcore Browns fans. They're going to want to entertain themselves. So I look at Buffalo, and they just don't sweat it at all. So what are we missing? What you just said is right. There is much stiffer competition here than in Buffalo, New York for the sports